Life has a way of reminding us that not everything happens on our schedule. We live in a world that demands instant results, instant success, instant recognition. But the truth is, the greatest blessings, opportunities and breakthroughs arrive at the right time, not the rush time. You may be grinding right now, feeling unseen, wondering if all your effort is in vain. But let me tell you, nothing you're doing is wasted. The right door, the right opportunity, the right moment is being prepared for you, just as you are being prepared for it. And when the timing is right, no force on this earth will be able to stop what's meant for you. You know, one of the hardest lessons to grasp in life is that things don't unfold according to our personal calendar. We imagine that if we work hard enough, if we want it badly enough, then surely life should bend itself to our urgency. But life doesn't work like that. The reality is, timing plays a role just as important as effort. You might have the skill, the vision, the hunger, and still you're not where you thought you would be. And that can feel deeply unfair, even discouraging. But let me offer you a different perspective. What if the delay isn't a punishment, but preparation? What if timing isn't the enemy, but the silent architect of your destiny? Think about it. Opportunity without timing can be disastrous. Imagine being given a responsibility, a position, or a platform before you've developed the capacity to handle it. What looks like success, without the right foundation, quickly turns into collapse. How many stories have we seen of people who made overnight only to fall apart just as quickly? The fame came, the money came, the influence came, but they weren't ready for it. And because they weren't ready, what could have been a blessing became a burden. Timing matters. Psychologically, human beings are impatient by nature. We're wired to seek immediate gratification because on some level, it reassures us that we're moving in the right direction. But the deeper truth is this growth takes time. Identity takes time. Mastery takes time. You don't want to arrive at the destination before you've built the character to remain there. And that's what timing does. It refines you, tests you, stretches you until you're capable of sustaining the very thing you've been praying and working for. Philosophically, it's worth considering that time is not something we control. It's something we cooperate with. Just as a farmer cannot force a seed to bear fruit before its season, you cannot force your life into full bloom before it's ready. And yet, what the farmer does have control over is the preparation of the soil, the watering, the care, the patience. Your role is not to control the timing, but to maximize the preparation. When the timing aligns, your readiness will determine how far you go. There's another side to this. Often, we compare ourselves to others and assume that because someone else has arrived earlier, we've somehow missed our chance. But that's a distortion. Their timeline isn't yours. Their journey is not a mirror of your own. And the moment you begin to internalize that truth, the anxiety of comparison loosens its grip. You start realizing that life isn't a race where everyone crosses the finish line at the same moment. It's a series of unique pathways, each with its own rhythm. And if you can trust your rhythm, if you can accept that your breakthrough will arrive precisely when you're ready for it, you free yourself from the constant torment of impatience. Now here's the paradox. While timing is not fully in your hands, responsibility still is. You cannot simply sit back and wait for life to hand you what you want. That would be Navi. Timing finds those who are ready. Opportunities meet the prepared. So the question becomes, while you wait, what are you doing with your time? Are you sharpening your skills? Are you strengthening your discipline? Are you building the character that will sustain the weight of success? Because when the door finally opens, you don't get time to suddenly prepare. You either step through with confidence, or you watch it close and wonder what could have been. So when you find yourself frustrated by the waiting, remind yourself timing is not against you. Timing is for you. It's aligning the pieces, shaping your character, protecting you from premature success that could destroy you. Your responsibility is to stay ready to keep growing, to trust that what is meant for you cannot and will not miss you. And if you can anchor yourself in that truth, here's what happens. Peace replaces anxiety, patience replaces panic, and hope replaces despair. You stop possessing over when, and you start focusing on how. How ready can I become? How disciplined can I remain? How strong can I be in the waiting? Because if you stay faithful to that process, then when the time finally comes, and you won't just arrive, you'll arrive ready. So remember, this life may not give you what you want when you want it, but it will give you what you need exactly when you're strong enough to handle it. And that moment will find you at the right time. One of the greatest mistakes people make is assuming that opportunity itself is the answer. They think if only I had that job, that platform, that relationship, then everything would change. But opportunity without preparation isn't a blessing. It's a setup for failure. And the reason is simple. You don't rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your preparation. When the moment comes, when the door swings open, you won't magically transform into the person capable of handling it. You'll simply reveal the habits, the discipline, and the character you've been building or neglecting in the shadows. This is why preparation is non-negotiable. You might not be able to predict when opportunity will arrive, but you can be certain it will test you. It will expose the truth about how much work you've done when no one was watching. Think about athletes. When the championship game comes, the pressure doesn't create skill, it reveals it. The endless hours of practice, the discipline of diet and sleep, the persistence in training, that's what determines the outcome. The game itself is simply the stage that exposes whether the preparation was real. Life works the same way. Psychologically, preparation gives you confidence. And this isn't the shallow confidence that comes from wishful thinking. It's a deep conviction that comes from competence. When you know you've put in the work, when you've developed the skills, when you've rehearsed again and again, you approach opportunity with authority instead of hesitation. But if you've cut corners, if you've been waiting lazily for a break, then when the opportunity finally does arrive, you'll feel fear, self-doubt, and regret. Because deep down, you'll know you're not ready. There's also a deeper philosophical truth here. Preparation is not just about tasks or skills, it's about identity. Who are you becoming in the process of preparing? Are you shaping yourself into someone capable of carrying responsibility? Someone who can be trusted, someone who doesn't collapse under pressure. The world doesn't reward potential, it rewards readiness. And readiness is forged long before the opportunity arrives. Many people waste years of their lives in frustration, not because they lacked opportunity, but because they neglected preparation. They wanted the spotlight but ignored the grind. They prayed for success but avoided the discipline that success requires. And the tragic irony is that when the door finally opened, they weren't able to walk through with strength. Preparation, then, isn't optional, it's the price of admission. Now let's consider the mindset that fuels real preparation. It's easy to tell yourself, I'll start getting ready once I see the opportunity. But that's backwards. The opportunity won't wait for you to get ready. It will come suddenly, sometimes without warning. And by then, it's too late to build what should have already been built. Preparation has to be proactive. It has to be rooted in the belief that even if the opportunity isn't visible yet, it's inevitable, and you need to be ready for it when it arrives. This is what separates those who succeed from those who stagnate. They live as if the door could open tomorrow. They train as if the test could come today. They don't waste time waiting for signs. They understand that preparation itself is the sign. Because when the moment finally comes, life won't ask, do you want it? It will ask, are you ready? So if you feel stuck, if you feel like opportunities keep passing you by, maybe the real question isn't about timing. Maybe the real question is about readiness. What are you doing in the meantime? Are you sharpening your mind, disciplining your habits, refining your craft? Or are you hoping that somehow opportunity will cover for your lack of preparation? Because it won't. Opportunity multiplies the reality of who you are. It doesn't rewrite it. And that's why preparation is the ultimate responsibility. You can't control the timing of life's opportunities, but you can absolutely control how prepared you are when they arrive. And that preparation, quiet, consistent, often invisible, becomes the foundation of everything else. So don't wait for the opportunity to show up before you start working. Work as if the opportunity is already on its way. Because when it finally comes, and it will, the only question that matters is whether you're truly ready to step through the door. Patience is one of those virtues everyone praises, but few are willing to practice. We live in a culture that worships speed, fast results, fast money, fast recognition. And in that rush, we forget something critical. Strength isn't built in moments of instant gratification. It's forged in the long stretches where nothing seems to be happening. Patience isn't passive. It's not about sitting around with folded hands waiting for life to change. Real patience is active. It's the capacity to endure difficulty, delay, and uncertainty without collapsing into bitterness or despair. That kind of patience doesn't make you weaker, it makes you formidable. Think about the strongest people you know. Not physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. They didn't get there by shortcutting the process. They got there because they learned how to suffer through the waiting, how to stay committed when the results weren't immediate, how to keep their character intact when it would have been easier to give up. That's what patience does. It forces you to grow roots instead of just leaves. It makes your foundation unshakable so that when opportunity finally comes, you're not blown over by the first storm that hits. Psychologically, patience rewires how you handle pain and discomfort. If you can delay gratification, if you can say no to the easy path, the quick fix, the shallow reward, you strengthen your willpower. You gain control over your impulses rather than letting your impulses control you. And research consistently shows that those who can delay gratification outperform those who can't, not because they're smarter or more talented, because they have the discipline to endure the waiting without losing focus. Philosophically, patience confronts the illusion that we're in full control of time. You can plant seeds, you can water them, you can cultivate the soil. But you cannot force a tree to grow faster than its season allows. If you try, you'll destroy the very thing you were trying to nurture. Life works the same way. Some things require a season of waiting, and that waiting is not wasted, it's essential. Patience teaches you to cooperate with time instead of fighting against it. It humbles you and strengthens you at the same time. And here's something most people overlook: impatience often makes you weaker, not stronger. When you rush the process, you end up settling for less than you're capable of. You grab at whatever is convenient, rather than holding out for what is truly aligned with your potential. How many people have sabotaged their future because they couldn't stand the waiting? They married too quickly, invested too quickly, quit too quickly. All because patience felt unbearable. And yet, what feels unbearable in the moment often turns out to be the very training that would have prepared them for a better future. Patience is also deeply tied to resilience. When you train yourself to endure the waiting without losing hope, you build the inner toughness to survive setbacks. Because setbacks are inevitable. Life doesn't go in straight lines. It wins, it stalls, it throws obstacles in your way. And if you can't wait, if you can't hold steady when progress feels invisible, You'll abandon your path before you've even given it a real chance. Patience is the antidote to that. It says, I don't need immediate proof to stay committed. I can keep moving, keep working, keep believing, even in the silence. This doesn't mean patience is easy. It's excruciating at times. It will test your faith, your consistency, your ability to manage frustration. But precisely because it's difficult, it builds strength. Just as lifting weights tears muscle fibers so they can rebuild stronger, patience tears through your illusions of control so that your resilience can be rebuilt on something deeper. Every day you endure without quitting, you expand your capacity. And that capacity becomes your advantage when your time finally comes. So when you feel like nothing is happening, when you're tempted to quit, remember this: the waiting is shaping you. Patience isn't the absence of progress. It's the presence of unseen growth. It's the training ground for strength you can't develop any other way. And here's the paradox worth carrying with you the moment you stop fighting the waiting and start embracing it. You realize the waiting itself was never wasted time. It was the very process that made you strong enough to receive what you were waiting for. One of the hardest things for people to accept is that life unfolds according to processes we often don't fully understand. We want certainty, we want guarantees, and we want them quickly. But life doesn't hand out blueprints, it hands out steps. And the process is rarely glamorous. It's frustrating, it's unpredictable, and at times it feels like you're moving backward instead of forward. Yet, that's exactly where trust becomes essential. Trusting the process doesn't mean you stop working or that you sit passively waiting for good things to happen. It means you commit to the work even when the outcome isn't visible. It means you keep planting seeds even when the soil looks barren. If you think about it, every meaningful pursuit in life requires this kind of trust. You don't get results in the gym after one workout. You don't see a harvest after one day of farming. You don't build mastery after a single attempt. Growth requires accumulation, small, consistent actions over time that compound into something substantial. The problem is, in the middle of that accumulation, it feels like nothing is happening. You show up day after day, and the results seem invisible. And it's at that point, when you can't yet see the payoff, that most people quit. They abandon the process right before it was about to produce results. Psychologically, trusting the process protects you from despair. When you understand that every step, even the difficult ones, is part of a larger trajectory, you stop treating setbacks as final verdicts. You begin to see them as necessary parts of the journey. The human mind is deeply uncomfortable with uncertainty. We want to know, how's this work? Am I wasting my time? But trust answers those questions by anchoring you in the bigger picture. It shifts your focus from immediate outcomes to long-term growth. That shift is what keeps you steady when impatience, doubt, and fear threaten to derail you. There's also a philosophical depth here worth noting. To trust the process is to accept that you are not omniscient. You don't know all the factors at play, all the timing that's unfolding, or all the lessons you need to learn before you're ready for the next stage. And that's humility, acknowledging that you don't have all the answers, creates space for growth. It forces you to relinquish control over the outcomes you can't dictate and double down on the one thing you can control: how you show up every single day. Now, let's be clear, trusting the process doesn't mean ignoring reality. It doesn't mean refusing to make adjustments or pretending everything is fine when it isn't. It means accepting that progress often disguises itself as struggle. It means realizing that chaos and order are not opposites, but partners in the development of your character. Sometimes the messiest seasons of your life are the very seasons preparing you for your greatest breakthroughs. But if you judge the process too quickly, you'll misinterpret it as failure. Think about the image of a seed. When you bury it in the ground, what does it look like? Darkness, stillness, nothing to show for the effort. But in that hidden space, life is forming. Roots are breaking out, pushing deeper, anchoring the seed so that when it finally breaks the surface, it has the stability to grow into something strong. If you look too early, you'd assume nothing was happening. But the process was working the entire time. That's your life. What feels hidden, what feels wasted, what feels like silence is often the underground work that has to happen before the breakthrough can appear. So the question becomes, will you stay faithful to the process even when it feels invisible? Will you keep watering the seeds, keep showing up, keep building, even when there's no immediate evidence of change? Because those who can endure that invisible stage are the ones who eventually experience visible transformation. And here's the truth: to hold on to the process is never working against you. It's working in you, shaping you, preparing you, building you. Trust it. Because one day, what was once hidden will break through the surface, and you'll see that it was worth every single step. One of the most destructive responses to waiting, to difficulty, to uncertainty is frustration. And frustration makes sense, we're human. When things don't go our way, when the timeline stretches longer than we expected, it's easy to feel angry, discouraged, even betrayed. But here's the problem: frustration narrows your vision. It traps you in the present moment and blinds you to the bigger picture. You stop seeing possibility, you stop seeing growth. You stop seeing the opportunity hidden in the struggle. That's why frustration is so dangerous. It convinces you that nothing is happening when, in fact, something essential is unfolding. Faith, on the other hand, does the opposite. Faith widens your perspective. It doesn't deny reality. It's not blind optimism, but it allows you to interpret your circumstances in a way that fuels resilience instead of despair. Faith says, this delay is not the end. This obstacle is not final. This season is not wasted. And that perspective is powerful because human beings can endure an extraordinary amount of hardship if they believe it has meaning. What breaks people is not pain itself, it's pain they believe is meaningless. Faith injects meaning into the struggle. Psychologically, frustration thrives on control. It emerges when we believe life owes us predictability, when we assume things must happen on our terms. And when reality violates that expectation, as it inevitably does, frustration erupts. Faith dismantles that illusion of control. It acknowledges, I don't run the war. I don't know every detail of how this will unfold. But I can trust that the effort I put in, the discipline I maintain, the character I'm building, it matters, even if I can't see it yet. That shift from demanding control to cultivating trust is what allows you to move forward instead of spiraling into paralysis. Philosophically, faith is a confrontation with chaos. Life is not orderly by default. It's unpredictable, uncertain, sometimes brutally unfair. And frustration is the cry of a person who cannot reconcile themselves with that reality. But faith is the courage to stand inside that chaos without collapsing. It's the decision to believe that order can still emerge, that meaning can still be found, that growth can still be achieved, even in the face of apparent disorder. That's not novel. It's profoundly human. Because if you refuse to have faith, if you insist on letting frustration dictate your choices, you essentially guarantee failure. You walk away before the process has time to work. Consider the moments in your own life when you've been frustrated. How many of them in hindsight turned out to be necessary? The job you didn't get, the relationship that fell apart, the delay that felt unbearable, all of them probably shaped you in ways you couldn't appreciate at the time. Faith allows you to live with that awareness in the present, not just in hindsight. It allows you to say, even though I don't see the purpose right now, I will act as if one exists. And that posture transforms your experience of difficulty. It doesn't make the waiting easy, but it makes it meaningful. The truth is, frustration is cheap. Anyone can be frustrated. It takes no discipline, no vision, no strength to throw up your hands and declare it's not worth it. Faith, on the other hand, is costly. It requires courage. It requires choosing hope when cynicism feels easier. It requires working even when you don't yet see the reward. But it's precisely that cost that makes faith transformative. Because when you refuse to surrender to frustration, you discover a strength you didn't know you had. So here's the choice in front of you. When life doesn't move at your pace, when the waiting drags on, when setbacks multiply, will you let frustration eat away at your spirit? Or will you hold on to faith? Faith in your preparation, faith in the process, faith that what is meant for you cannot be taken from you. That choice will shape not just what you achieve, but who you become in the process. And if you can choose faith over frustration, you'll find that the very seasons designed to break you will become the seasons that built you. At some point, you have to settle this truth deep within yourself. Your time will come. And I don't mean that in some vague, wishful way. I mean it in the most practical and profound sense. If you've been preparing, if you've been patient, if you've been trusting the process and choosing faith over frustration, then there will come a moment when everything aligns, when the door opens, when the opportunity presents itself, when the work you've been doing in silence suddenly speaks louder than you ever imagined. That moment is real, but it belongs only to those who refuse to quit before it arrives. The difficulty is that we live with an almost constant temptation to doubt that our time will ever come. We look at the success of others and assume that perhaps destiny skipped over us. We confuse delay with denial. We tell ourselves stories like, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I've missed my chance. But those are lies fueled by impatience and insecurity. The reality is, every person's timeline is different. Just because your moment hasn't arrived yet doesn't mean it won't. In fact, the very struggle you're enduring right now may be the necessary preparation for the season that's ahead. Think about how nature operates. Winter doesn't last forever. Spring always follows. But if you judge the earth in January, you'd assume the trees were dead, the ground barren, the life gone. Yet beneath the surface, unseen, processes are unfolding that will make way for growth. Life is the same. What looks dormant on the outside may be teeming with potential on the inside. But you have to hold steady long enough for that season to shift. Psychologically, believing that your time will come changes how you carry yourself in the present. Instead of being crushed by delays, you begin to see them as temporary. Instead of collapsing under rejection, you treat it as redirection. That belief fuels perseverance. It gives you the strength to keep showing up, to keep refining, to keep preparing, because you understand that the payoff is not a matter of if, but when. And that shift in mindset is what separates those who arrive ready from those who give up too early. Philosophically, the idea that your time will come forces you to grapple with responsibility. It's not just about sitting back and waiting for life to hand you what you want. Your time comes to those who make themselves worthy of it. It comes to those who have built the strength to carry the weight of it. It comes to those who stayed consistent even when the world wasn't watching. And when that moment finally arrives, the question won't be, was I lucky enough to get a chance? The question will be, did I do the work to be ready for it? There's something incredibly liberating about this realization. You don't have to chase every opportunity frantically. You don't have to panic because someone else reached a milestone before you. You don't have to force things that aren't ready to happen. Your time will come. And when it does, it will be undeniable. What was once hidden will become visible. What once felt meaningless will suddenly make sense. All the pain, the waiting, the preparation, It will all converge into a moment where you step in the place you were meant to occupy all along. So hold on to that conviction. Carry it with you through the waiting, through the setbacks, through the silence. Your time will come, not because life is obligated to hand you anything, because you are determined to be ready when it does. That combination, preparation, patience, trust, faith, makes the arrival inevitable. And when that moment finally finds you, don't be surprised. You'll realize it wasn't luck, it wasn't chance. It was the reward of refusing to quit. Your time will come, and when it does, it will be worth every second you spent waiting. In the end, everything we've explored, timing, preparation, patience, trust, faith, and the certainty that your time will come, points to one simple but profound truth: life is not a race to see who gets there first. It's a journey of becoming the kind of person who can carry what they've been working for. The waiting is not wasted, the struggle is not meaningless, and the silence is not empty. Every delay has been shaping you, every obstacle has been strengthening you, and every unseen effort has been preparing you for the moment when everything aligns. So don't give up in the middle of the process. Don't let frustration rob you of your future. Stay ready, stay patient, stay faithful. Because when your time finally arrives, and it will, you'll not only step into your destiny, you'll step into it with the strength, the wisdom, and the resilience to sustain it.